Hello and welcome to Leviathan News, a very special one. I'm Samuel McCullough, and I'm joined here with my co-host, DeFi Advisor. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Sorry for the noise. Let me close the window. Just a second.
So today, I guess we were roiled with the news over the weekend when we found that Pavel Durov was arrested or taken off of his plane, met at the tarmac in France by French authorities who
The story, man.
wanted to open up an investigation into him for a litany of offenses. And I think this came as a shock to a lot of people because, Pavel's been living in the UAE for a long time. He's also a so he's a French citizen and he's a UAE citizen as well, too. And, he goes back and forth to France sometimes. I think it's been a year since he's last gone. And so he had been planning to go to meet a business associate on Saturday, but all that kind of fell apart. And now he's been sitting in custody for a couple of days now. And apparently we found out today that an unnamed individual who we all think is Pavel Durov is now going to be charged with 12 counts, or at least investigated for 12 counts. And these all kind of deal with accessory to illicit transactions, transmission of child pornography, distribution of drugs and narcotics, and also making other things available that are not great. Also fraud as well, too, for organized groups. And so there's been just a huge outcry on Twitter of both free speech advocates saying that Pavel had, was doing great things and had was really carrying the banner for free speech. Edward Snowden came out and said that the arrest of Durov is an assault on basic human rights, free speech and association, and that he was deeply saddened by that Macron has descended from the level of taking hostages as a means for gaining access to private communications. It not only lowers France, but the entire world. And what Snowden was alluding to here is that famously, and I guess also notoriously now, Pavel Durov has not gone out of his way, like the other big tech giants, to disclose user information to any government authorities. Back in 2014, when the original events in Ukraine took place and Yanukovych was overthrown, he refused to give the Russian authorities any data on its users at the time. He also left Russia at the time. And then when Russia came back in 2017, he sent, and they asked him for the actual encryption keys to the platform. He sent them some actual keys made out of metal. And at the time, this was like widely, I guess, promoted and lauded in the West. You had many NGOs coming out and saying that, look at Pavel standing up to Russia and giving Putin what's due. But here we are now, 5 years later, or 7 years later, and now the tides have shifted. And now it's the Russian authorities claiming that Pavel's being unjustly prosecuted. And it's the French authorities and the West who are the ones who have imprisoned him. And so I think we have a perfect guest for this today. And this is someone who, it's his first time on Leviathan as well, too. That's Officer CIA, aka Vladimir. And Vladimir probably runs the best collection of security details, privacy details for everything social online. And it has just built up what I think is the number one place to learn how to gain privacy in a digital sense, and also to learn how to keep your data private and keep safe. So, Vladimir, welcome.
Hello, guys. Nice to be on this call. First of all, thank you. I've put enormous amount of efforts into creating this guide, particularly OPSEC security guide for crypto holders. Given the fact that nowadays a lot of crypto guys are facing enormous amount of threats, from physical level threats to online level threats, and particularly on Telegram. This situation with Mr. Pavel Durov, because that's my personal opinion, because as far as the unnamed person, I don't know who is this unnamed person. Mr. Pavel Durov has a brother, Nikolai Durov, who may be this unnamed person, in my personal opinion, because he's a mathematician, a cryptographer, and also one of the Telegram founders. So maybe that's somehow related. I don't know. Um, a lot of people are asking me and confused about whether they have to delete their Telegram messages, erase chats, erase saved messages folder, and so on. Personally, I believe that Pavel Durov doesn't have access or keys to unencrypt the Telegram messenger, and I don't think that we are risking somehow. But of course, if you want to hedge risks, you should probably not save your seed phrase anywhere on Telegram in saved messages folder. That's stupid. That's a bit of stupid. You should write them down on your paper.
Well, I got a bunch of questions for you, Vlad.
So,
But
all right.
before that, let me just talk about our sponsor, and that's Yieldnest. Yieldnest is a friend of the show, and what we think is one of the best place to get access to AVS yields in crypto. You can take your ETH and go and restake in either their Wine ETH product, which is a native liquid restaking token, or you can put it in Wine ETH. So if you have Frax ETH or Steth or a litany or variety of other assets that are already staked, you can deposit them here and you can earn points. And so we have a link that will be in the show notes, and you can go check that out there. So I want to get back to Telegram. Before we talk about Pavel and his situation, maybe we can talk about like Telegram as a whole and where Telegram fits in the spectrum of messengers that are widely used that purport to have in privacy or safety or other types of encrypted messaging given to its users.
Well, I believe Telegram is, first of all, a private messenger, not compared to a Matrix or a Jabber or all this sort of messengers that are widely used. It's mostly for business group chats or one-to-one chats are end-to-end encrypted. Only those who has a lock symbol on them. But they're of course TLS encrypted. All of the chats are TLS encrypted on Telegram. Um, Only end-to-end chats with lock are end-to-end encrypted. That's simple. And by the way, Telegram has one big advantage, which I want to emphasize. This is that
You got
you
cut
can
off.
do an integrity.
Vladimir, you're cutting out there a little bit.
Yeah. What did you say the best part about Telegram, or that sentence that you started on?
I mean, you can check out the build on GitHub, whether your downloaded app from App Store matches it correctly. This is called an integrity check, and Telegram allows you to do this. None of the messengers I know, or none of competitors, allow to do this. Only Telegram does this, so this is a big advantage. It ensures.
Again, it's cut. It ensures what?
Getting some lag.
Let me reconnect from another device.
Okay.
One second.
It was just on the best part, it ensures.
Yeah, so I have this really nice sheet or graph or spreadsheet that Vladimir maintains, and I'm just digging through the messages now, and I'm going to get that posted up. But it essentially goes into describing the security considerations for all of these messengers that you use. Oh, welcome back, Vladimir.
Hello.
Okay, we're back now.
Way better.
Yes.
Looks better because the circle around you is moving as well. So usually it's a good sign.
Great. So I just mean the Telegram ensures you, first of all, that none of malicious or spyware code has been added to the app that you are downloading directly from App Store or Google Play. None of competitors are allowing to do this to a regular user, but Telegram does this. This is a big advantage.
Mm. So, from what you were saying, if we look at a messenger like WhatsApp, which is owned by Facebook, we can probably deduce that they're probably completely compromised. That I think there's been many security reports that have come out on them saying that those chats are just full of like everything's backdoored in WhatsApp. Then you have something like Signal, where it's questionable about what they provide. I don't think Signal open sources their software, do they?
I think not.
Yeah. Signal exists as well too, and that's quite used as well. And then kind of Telegram sits in its own little universe because it's not just a private messenger like Signal. You have all these different channels, you have groups which have no end-to-end encryption. But the question I think here is, at least in this arrest, was Telegram providing all of that data on pretty much every single group and channel to the authorities as they wanted it? Just like to give it to them as an open book and say that, okay, if people are going to have their in encrypted chats between themselves, that's fine. But I think what people really want at the end of the day is access to these groups and channels.
I believe Telegram plays its own rules when it comes to providing data to authorities. Um, they can, of course, give exact amount of data, but of course, this data may not be sufficient to establish or to get someone or to imprison someone. Sometimes that's not enough. Uh, they may delete any content from the government's official compliant, um, like they are doing constantly. It happened yesterday. It happens today. It happens all the time. Telegram deletes a lot of copyright content and content that prohibits several laws from each country. They also been introducing recently a special a special service for governmental authorities through which they would be able to send official letters, to download, to strike several types of content and so on. I don't know whether it has been published yet, but they told maybe 2 months ago that they're preparing a sort of an account for governmental authorities, like Twitter, for example, did. We of course remember when hackers hacked an Italian government's Twitter government page, through which they obtained a lot of user data, including IPs, numbers, and leaked it to the internet. Maybe Telegram doesn't want to just repeat this bad occasion. So maybe they haven't released it yet. I don't know. But when it comes to collaborating with authorities, Telegram, of course, can provide certain amount of data, but this data may not be enough. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's usually the scope of the data, right? If they're just providing exactly what's being asked for within the known like realm of intelligence of whatever the authorities are asking for, there might be other groups and chats that kind of get left out of that. And so if, maybe the thinking here is that they're, at least to the French authorities, that they're not being proactive enough in turning over that data.
Maybe. It is a strange coincidence because 3 days before Mr. Pavel Durov arrest, someone, I think Iranian hackers, leaked Israeli Ministry of Justice documents to the Telegram. All of those channels were very quickly deleted. Uh, like Telegram usually does with most of leakages, including Russian government leakages, American government leakages, and so on. But maybe that's somehow connected. Maybe they denied to provide certain data on users who are responsible for this leakage. I don't know for sure. That's just a guess.
Yeah.
I believe.
And so this isn't the first time that Telegram's run into afoul of national authorities. Obviously, we talked about the spat that Durov had with Russia that caused him to leave the country a decade ago. And then just last year, Brazil essentially shut down Telegram after it failed to comply with an order that they called impossible. And it was shut down for quite a long time, but then reopened up later on. And then it has been cleared now after an investigation has been taken place. So I think it's a little bit early to judge here. Like, we haven't seen the full scope of all the documents that have come out of the French courts, and there's a lot more information that needs to be disclosed on why France detained Durov and what they're trying to achieve with all of this. I've seen claims around the European DSA, and Europe in itself has become one of the, I guess, capitals for imposing internet regulation. With the introduction of GDPR, they essentially forced the entire world to come onto their compliance standards around data security and data retention. And now they've introduced other regulations that specifically target social media accounts inside of, say, X or Facebook or Telegram in this case. And, that paired with the fact that the majority of Telegram's users come from like Eastern Europe and Asia, I think has been raising a lot of feathers and just bringing them a lot more into the limelight with all the events that have been taking place recently. So I don't know. I've seen a lot of different takes on this Telegram situation, and I think until we get the full,
we might never know as well. Like,
yeah.
I've also heard, like, I saw a tweet yesterday with a rumor that there were already some kinds of negotiations between. They say that he came back from that he landed in France from Azerbaijan, right? And that he was already in talks with Putin himself or something like that about returning to Russia. Again, I have no idea if that's actually the case, but that was in one of the tweets I saw about it. So, like, to be honest, from where we're sitting and like where most of the public is, like, how can we even know what are the real causes of this kind of a move? Like, it can surely be like I don't know, like simple criminal allegations between countries, but it seems like, maybe I'm too conspiratorial for this kind of stuff, but yeah, it seems a bit weird. And for sure, I do consider the possibility that there are political issues involved, and that we will never be told what actually is going on.
Yeah. So Vladimir, I wanted to ask some questions about privacy when it comes to Telegram. Like, can you actually be private with Telegram? Can you remain anonymous?
I believe yes. It depends on your settings. First of all, you can check out my article about Telegram security tips, where I precisely outlined what and how exactly should be configured in order to prevent leaking your data to the persons you don't want to be providing your information. Um, I believe you can achieve this mostly by using a site client of Telegram. There are pretty decent Telegram client which is called Necogram, which is also an open source. You can install it and use Telegram throughout it, and this way you will achieve maximum privacy. If you don't want to download random stuff from the internet, you can probably just configure Telegram the way I described it here. And in comparison to other services like Matrix or Element, Telegram seems way more easier for me to configure it in a private way, because uh, none of security researchers will tell you that when you make a branch between Matrix or Element chat to a Telegram chat, it automatically loses end-to-end encryption, and There is nowhere where it is stated or clearly explained. But in Telegram, they have a pretty decent document page where each step is provided with all of the needed information on how to make it secure. Um, you should know that if you're a criminal and hiding from the government, probably Telegram is not the best choice for you, because as far as I know, really, really big criminals are still using Jabber and those things from early 2010, Jabber Matrix and so on. But Telegram is more for protecting your data from falling into the hands of intruders, into the hands of criminals, business competitors, business espionage specialists, and so on. Of course, there are plenty of specialists who call themselves OSINT researchers, who may be establishing connections between one and another Telegram account, but that's just basically a work with public data, because there are bots on Telegram like Telesyn bot or Telegram robot who may be who are collecting data from all of the public chats. And if you insert an account from the person of interest into them, you may get not a full list, but a list of public chats where this account has been spotted. So if you're hiding, of course, you should never ever join public chats, follow channels, use bots, and so on, because that's public information. Uh, Maybe that's a sort of a honeypot in the Telegram that Telegram developers has built in order to help police to establish people, because that's very confusing for a newcomer to distinguish where private ends and public starts in Telegram. So you should be very aware of those dangers of Telegram, of course.
Yeah, I've seen some really interesting things inside of Telegram. A few bots that you plug in a username and it goes out and essentially connects as much data as it can inside of the bot to that username, like what groups they're in, what emails are connected to it, if there's any outside external accounts connected to it as well too. I thought it was really interesting. Like, this is something that was like third party, right? But I think that when you're talking about don't go into group chats, maybe there's a bot that's like grabbing your information and then selling it off to somebody else. There's a lot of bots out there that you like. I have to think about all the different bots that we have in our Telegram channels, like Rose and the other ones. Like, how much data can they collect and essentially either sell or pass on?
It depends and varies from one bot to another, but in general, at maximum, you can obtain even IP and fingerprints of any person interacting with your bot. Like recently, there has been a very popular Telegram bot, which is called Hamster Combat Bot, uh, for that's some kind of a popular tapping crypto coin. In order to start it, you had to open a special page, HTML5 page in a bot, which probably, I don't know if that's true, but it's possible. Collected user info data like IP, language of the operation system, screen dimension, and so on. So yes, this is possible, but not all of the bots are doing this intentionally or unintentionally, of course. But there is such a possibility.
Yeah. So when you're approaching these systems as a security researcher, like what are you usually tracking? Are you looking for? I mean, you said that there's an open source version of Telegram, so you can take a look at the code. But you and your OSINT role are mostly tracking how the services are being used and like what kinds of implementations and scams and other types of actors and how they work in the Telegram ecosystem are operating.
Yes. For example, if you're using the same nickname in Telegram and on other social platforms, this will be visible. And by the way, those OSINT bots are using leaked databases of Telegram numbers. The biggest one was happened in 2017, and uh, rumors say that Chinese police did this by brute forcing Telegram numbers, like they just added a lot of Telegram numbers into contacts. And when you guess a certain number, when added to contacts, you can see the account of the person behind it. So if you know the number, you know the account just simply by adding it into contacts.
Oh,
That's
wow.
a good thing to remember.
Yeah.
Always use new contact names, right?
Also with Telegram, it only allows to connect like one account to a phone number, right? Like I know that at least I tried in the past to work on two separate accounts with the same phone number and I couldn't.
I mean, where do you get it? Where's the best place to get a telephone number then? Just Google Voice?
Yeah, Google Voice. By the way, Telegram has their own NFT number exchange, which is called a Fragment, where you can acquire a Telegram only number, which can be used only for Telegram authorization. But they're quite expensive. I acquired myself a single number 2 years ago when they were a bit down in price, not as expensive as they're now. Pretty good solution, I'd say. You don't have to depend on a certain telephone number provider. You just be sure that you have your seed phrase somewhere written down, and this NFT will be attached to it, attached to an address, which is attached to a seed phrase, of course. It's pretty simple and pretty decent and comfortable solution, but it's way too expensive for normal users. But if you want to ensure that you're SIM swap free, I would recommend you acquiring a number on a Fragment platform.
Yes, these are running for 141 ton as the floor price, if this is the right collection.
How much is one
Yeah,
ton?
that's-
Please?
It's about $5. So you're paying about $750 for a anonymous Telegram number.
I think you can buy them way cheaper if you use an auction price somewhere. There should be somewhere a Tumblr where you can set this up. But I acquired myself a Telegram number for $100. I believe that's a lifetime payment. You don't have to pay more.
That's pretty good,
Actually,
actually.
a good solution for those who want to really remain anonymous.
And as long as you don't lose your 2FA or your seed phrase, then you're fine, right?
If you lose your C phrase, if you have an access to an account, you can change a number from your Telegram number to just a normal operator, normie operator number. But you should have an access to cloud password. This means you should have access to email associated with your account. So if you lost your seed phrase with your Telegram number, but you still have access to account and you remember all of the rest data, you're fine.
Oh, wow,
You guys are referring to like what? To what wallet you guys are referring to when you say remember the seed phrase? Like the built-in wallet in Telegram? No.
They have their own wallet, which is called a Ton Keeper. Um, in it, you can manage this number, sell it, or transfer it to another person. By the way, they're also selling short nicknames and so on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm looking at Fragment now, and those telephone prices are going again like for sales about 145, and then on auction, some of these have a lot of auctions, but like 16 17. Maybe you could pick up a cheap one if you could snipe it good. But I mean, you think about for the long term, if you never have to buy a number again, you don't have to go out and like pay for a SIM. You don't have to get a phone. It can just stay in your Ton wallet and then be used to log in. I might have to go pick up one of these. I didn't know about this. This is great.
And you know, Officer CIA, Sam is really a Telegram maxi. Now, when you turn him on a new feature that he can, on a new way he can use Telegram, he will explore. Like for me personally, I didn't use Telegram as much until Leviathan News, where I started working with Sam and Garrett and so many other people. And really, like Telegram is where, like most people also use Discord, but pretty much everyone is kind of, even if they don't really want to, they're forced to work with Telegram in a way because everyone is there.
Yeah. Okay, so let's kind of go back and summarize all of this. If you want to stay safe, make sure to go to Officer CIA's Telegram security page. I've read through this and I've implemented this like first thing. I mean, these are just like basic things, which is essentially just turning everything off. You shouldn't be downloading anything. You shouldn't be loading any photos. You shouldn't be loading any GIFs or emojis. You should be using a VPN. You should have 2FA. I mean, these are all really basic things, right? Just go down through this list if you're using Telegram, top to bottom, and implement all these things. There's also some more information in this that you also provided that can be used if you want to go out and get one of those third-party Telegram clients that you mentioned. And then additionally, you also talked about the Telegram numbers that you can buy, which is actually pretty cool. I'm going to have to go pick one of these up. I'm not going to spend $20,000, which these top ones are being sold for, but probably, picking one up for a couple $100 is probably a good thing.
Why the huge difference in price? Like, what's the actual sales? Is there an actual difference?
Look at that number. It's like 0001 0005. So it's like vanity.
Okay, like a golden number.
Yeah. But what about existing data? What about if you're using Telegram for years and you're worried about your data?
First of all, you can export all of the data that are associated with your Telegram account. Throughout the settings, there is a special sidebar where you can select what data you would like to export. You export it and save. Just in case that if police will raid the Telegram servers and arrest them, of course they won't get this data. They would not be able to unencrypt it, I believe, as far as I know. But you may just lose it in case their servers will be arrested. So if you you would not like to lose all of your data, you can just export it easily throughout settings. And
can we show it on screen? Can we maybe show it on screen how to do this?
1 second.
Yeah, so
Connor, it might be relevant for some of us soon. Hope not, but
yeah. So if you go to like data and storage, I believe that you can export. You do have to be using the right Telegram client. If you're using a Mac, like I am, and I'm sure many of you are using that at home, there's actually like 2 Mac clients, and one of them has a better UX and UI, I think, but it actually has less features than the other one. Like if you want to export, you have to download the specific Telegram desktop version, which is like 5.2 right now versus the 10.15. And in those, you can actually export. I don't know why, but yeah, I don't know why they have 2 clients.
So where do you go on the menu of Telegram in order to export it? Going to settings or what?
Settings next. Scroll to the end, and you can choose an export. That's only accessible through the desktop version. You're correct. You cannot do this from an iPhone or an Android. Um,
I'm not
Unfortunately,
seeing it
I'm
actually. I'm
joining
on it
from my
now.
phone.
Okay. Maybe in advanced settings or something like that.
Yeah, so you can it
Okay. Export Telegram data. I found it.
y-
It's in settings and then advanced.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
export Telegram
Thanks.
settings. And then you can also like set it so if you don't use Telegram for like a month, it'll delete everything. Um, I think I have mine at 3 months in case anything happens to you or you go offline for an extended period of time. Additionally, Telegram has put in a way to allow you to delete all your chats older than a year, which also pretty interesting idea as well too. Well, cool. I
Also,
think
Telegram is so global, you know. Like I think really everywhere in the world they are like they use it.
it's concentrated in certain parts of the world, right? So in the United States, I think people are more akin to use like WhatsApp and other like apps, messenger apps, maybe Facebook Messenger. Telegram is primarily used in mostly like Eastern Europe, parts of Africa, Asia. Um,
Yeah, but I'm sure like is it that rare in the States that people also use TG?
so I'm looking at a chart now, and Russia is actually the like top usage, or sorry, India is the top usage for Telegram.
Ah,
Uh,
really?
yeah, I don't know how old this data is, but it has India at 100 over 100 million downloads.
Yeah, well, India is huge. India is like what 1.4 billion or like how many people live in India?
Mhm. Followed by Russia in number 2, and then Indonesia, United States, Brazil, Egypt, Vietnam, Mexico, and Ukraine, rounding out the top 10. Um, so yeah, I'm I hope we get to see something come out of all of this. I think that people have been pushing for Telegram to make steps to not fall into this situation. I know they have backup plans, and the company is domiciled in the UAE, so maybe there is some legal protection there. But it does service users globally, so it does have to meet the regulatory regimes of each of those countries. The question really is can that be used to insert backdoors, because this is what it all comes down to. Can this be used to insert backdoors that provide unlimited access to specific intelligence services or security services so that they can go in and view any type of chat that's being taken place?
Do you think that them having like their own blockchain could have had any effect on what's like going on? Does it put them in a position where they're like raising more suspicious because they also choose like the blockchain route and not the Web 2 usual route of a messaging app?
But they haven't really integrated Ton into the messenger, and I don't think there's any plans to do so at this time. They have the wallet that is built in, but recently they kind of caved, and due to demands by the Apple Store, they I think abandoned their plans to integrate Ton in as a payment method, and now they have this thing called Stars, where you can essentially buy stars and then use those to like star a message, and that sends someone a star, and you get paid for it. Um, it's I think it's interesting. It opens up a lot of new ways to create subscriptions and monetize your content within Telegram. But it must be like, a little worrying for people who are looking for Ton to grow when it hasn't been integrated yet, and there is no plans for that have been publicly announced.
Well, I believe that Mr. Durov attracted the most of funding to Telegram because as far as I know, it costs about 600 million dollars per year to serve the Telegram, and it costs a lot of money. And if Mr. Durov won't be able to recover from his problems, Telegram will probably have to raise money from VCs or probably add more monetization or make premium subscription an obligatory one, or some kind of, because it costs a lot of money to run such a big company like a Telegram, especially given the fact that one of its main advantages is that is fast, really fast, downloading, uploading really fast, and it is achieved by placing their servers very close to internet exchange servers that are located in certain parts of the world. For example, in Netherlands, in England, in USA, very close to the underwater internet cables, and of course those ICP providers know the price, and to place your server nearby this ICP provider is always more expensive rather than just place it somewhere else. So I believe and I hope Durov will be able to recover, and Telegram won't financial losses this year.
Yeah, I think that's what we're hoping as well too. So we're going to keep up to date on the story inside of Leviathan, as well as track any security changes that take place within the platform. You can go and follow Vlad's page, which is great. You have one of the best channels, I think, on Telegram. It's called, so it's, let me pull this up. So it's officer_CIA on Telegram, also on X as well too. And we'll have the link to the blog there as well too, which is on Mirror. And yeah. Oh, and I also want to say thank you for maintaining, we're going to have a link for this as well too, the Web3 pack, which if you're a DeFi enthusiast or crypto enthusiast and you want to get access to every single good channel group out there, Vlad is the one who maintains it, keeps it up to date, and adds new channels in. And Leviathan is a part of that, and we're super happy to be inside of your little chat folder, because it's a who's who of crypto and DeFi.
Pleasure to help. Trying to connect people, and Telegram folders is a decent invention. I really like it. I have a folder for every type of person I speak with. For a single one, I have a Web3 pack. For other, I have a pack of channels about architecture and so on. Pretty cool.
Really?
Yes. I have a lot of folders.
Good.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We want to give another shout out to our sponsor at Yieldnest. If you have some ETH and you want to go stake it, go to Yieldnest now and deposit your ETH and get back YN ETH or YN LSD. We have a link in the show notes that you can use to go and go join the Yieldnest community as well too. With gas being at 1 Gwei, there's no reason to not do a bunch of this on-chain DeFi stuff on ETH. Just pay. Maybe like.
By the way, we should have maybe if we have some time tomorrow or something, Sam, we should talk about the whole is DeFi good? I saw the whole DeFi good is DeFi good discussion on the timeline. Vitalik and stuff. We should talk about it a little bit. But for us, I think DeFi is kind of cool.
It's a lot of fun. I like it. All right, Vlad, thanks so much for being here today. Really appreciate your helping us and better understand what's happening at Telegram and how you can keep yourself safe. And thank you, DeFi Advisor, as well too, for being here.
Thank you, man, and respect for getting Vlad on here today. What a great guest, and thank you for coming, man. By the way, Vlad, weren't you on the channel like months ago for one time? I thought you were. I thought we had the Officer CIA once, like maybe half a year ago or 8 months ago. But maybe I'm confusing.
I've been running this channel since 2020, I think, late 2020, and finally came out as a public person this month.
I think it's the right
You're doing
thing.
a great job, man. You're doing a great job.
Well, cool. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow.
Amen.